Welcome, everybody.
Morning.
I'm going to say, I know it's just following a holiday, but I'm also wondering if people are liking this book club or not when our attendance is so low. So just think about it till next week and read the book and see if we get a little bit more participation. I don't mind doing this for a few people, but I just wonder if I'm not reaching enough people. So that's my speech. And now nobody's online because Erica's here. Thank you, Erica. Yeah. But we are still recording it, by golly.
I'm surprised Ray's not here.
So, in some ways, this book is very elementary and very much a storytelling. Has anybody who's read it, the chapters?
It won't if you're on your phone. Yeah. You have to actually go online to Amazon and do it there, and then it will download to Kindle because there's rules with Google Play Store right now.
What about the audio though? Is it downloading?
No idea.
I think it's the same problem. You have to actually go on a computer and buy it on your Amazon account. No, to Amazon. Uh-huh. Right. Right. Buy it there and it'll link to your Kindle. Yes. Because that's what, yes.
Yeah, because once I've done that, I've seen it on my phone, on my iPad, on my computer, and all that.
Because I had to go on my computer, but it downloaded to my Kindle.
But with the emails I sent you, I sent a link that you can click on. It will take you to Amazon and to the book. So you don't have to search for it or anything.
Right. And then you'll log in from there and pick whatever purchase option you want. Right. You have to do it from the computer.
So let me give you the premise of the chapter 1. I know you've read it and you've read it, but the premise is a guy who's been in business a long time is selling his company for $350 million. By the way, this company will not go for $350 million or I would be gone already. And as he's getting done selling the business and introducing the new owner and all that, he's kind of feeling left out, pushed out to the side because the new owners, and he says, as it should be, the new owners are taking over and people want to learn about him and know what's going on with him. But as he's getting ready to walk out the door, a kid runs after him, one of his newer hirings. And he brings him a piece of cake and he says, I have a question for you. The question is, how did you get to be so successful and so rich? That's the premise of the entire rest of the book. Now, I love and please chime in whenever you want, you, and if you have other comments. Right off the top, he said he's kind of secretive, but he says, okay, call me tomorrow at what, 1:10?
10:10. 10:10.
10:10. And the kid called him at 10:11. And he says, okay, I'm ready to learn. And he says, you're late, and hung up immediately. We'll get into time a little bit. The next day, he called at 10:10. And the guy said, you're late, hung up. Third day, he called 5 minutes early. How many minutes?
5 minutes early.
5 minutes early. The guy said, oh, you're starting to learn now. And he says, I'm ready. Okay, we'll meet tomorrow at a cafeteria. So see the progress at this. You don't just say, give me the secrets, and in one day you get a list of things to do and they all happen. There is a section of time that you have to test yourself and somebody else has to test you. And so he showed up early at the restaurant, the kid, And the guy who he was going to learn from is already there drinking his coffee. And he says, I was early. I knew I was going to beat him. And on the phone, I think I left out the part about what to bring to the restaurant.
Yeah, you did.
Didn't I?
That's okay.
So on the phone, when he says, okay, I want you to come to the restaurant, but I need you to bring a duck and a $20 gift card.
It was a rabbit.
Rabbit and a $20 gift card. So I don't need to belabor for 2 days. The guy's trying to figure out, do I get a live rabbit? Do I get this? Do I get that?
Stuffed animal.
Yeah. So he ends up getting a stuffed animal,
No,
trinket.
it's a ceramic
yeah.
bunny.
Ceramic bunny and a $20 gift certificate. And he shows up and pretty much he says, well, what was this stuff for? And the guy says, we'll get to that. Let's see, get past the question. And one of the things he said, the fact that you didn't give up tells me you might have what it takes to make it. You could have easily quit after the first time I hung up, even though you were late. The second time you're on time, and I said that wasn't good enough. So I want to tell you a little bit about time and why I think you should be early.
Sorry.
My father was a engineer and a stickler for time. The first date he went on with my mom, he got there 15 minutes early and walked around the block until it was precisely time to knock on the door. He didn't want to be early to embarrass her, but he was not going to be late. Now, how many in this room have heard of realtor time? What is realtor time? Exactly. What is realtor time?
Always, I be there before I say at 10, I will be there around 9:50.
50. But how many other realtors do that?
I hate when the people is late in the appointment.
So let me tell you another story. My wife thinks time is a rough guideline. And I'm not saying that to beat her up. That's just who she is. For me, if I say I'm going to be someplace at 4 o'clock and I know I'm running late, I will figure out I will call them and I say, it's 10 till 4, but I won't be there till 4:03. I'm sorry. And I get there by 4:03 because to me, time is a very, very precise thing. I like to show up early. Well, whether, my wife, God love her, probably wouldn't be a good realtor because some people are very precise on time. And if you're not there when they expect you, they'll go find somebody else. Agreed?
Yeah. It was like me in the drive-through at Panera on Sunday coming here to clean. I wanted to go get my iced tea, my coveted iced tea. They were out of the large cups. They were out of the medium cups, but I could still get a small. And I sat in the park, I sat in the drive-through, and I sat in the drive-through, and I sat in the drive-through, and good Lord, I sat in the drive-through. I pulled out and left. They couldn't come out and bring me my tea, which they have done a million times when there's a line. They couldn't accommodate me in any way, so I was gone. Bye.
So what?
Mm-hmm.
And I did read someplace that there are two types of people in the world: somebody who's early, and somebody who's always late, and they generally get married. I'm just saying that. So anyway, one of the things that our owner is saying, show up, I get here before anybody else. And pretty much I'm here before everybody but you.
And Kathy.
Well, Kathy has to be here at 8, but somebody else is telling her when to be here.
True.
I get here around 8:15 to 8:30. And it's not that and it's kind of funny because I get up in the morning and I'm watching the news and I'm already clock watching at 7:45 because I know I got to, do this and do that. It's showing up on time. But this next thing that really got to me that this next part, so he had to get a rabbit
Mhm.
and a gift card. And he said, really, what's that all about? And the boss said, you see, most people want to be successful, but they aren't willing to go out of their way and take action. They get in their comfort zone. And, going to look for a ceramic rabbit would be way out of my comfort zone. I wouldn't even begin to know where to look for it except Amazon, or something like that. And the instruction was rabbit. Do I get a live rabbit? Do I get a stuffed rabbit? What do I get? And I have no idea why I'm doing it. That would bother me even more. You want me to do something? Explain it to me. And what the lesson is here is get out of your comfort zone. He's got one last sentence that I highlighted in this first chapter. Do you believe in the law of attraction, that our thoughts become things?
100%.
You said 100%.
100%.
Tim's going, So the kid that was getting the lesson said, I guess so. And he said, wrong answer. Now, I know Brenda teaches a lot in real estate, and there's things that she does that are absolutely fabulous. So I'm not picking on anything she does. I'm saying how I look at things. This is not her. Brenda teaches that you need to know your big why of what you want to do things. And what I read here is Greg's big why is I want to be the best at it that there is. I want to be better than the next guy. I want to be better. It's not because I want a trip to Hawaii or I want a car or any of that. And maybe that's my fault. Maybe that's why I'm not so good. But for me, I want to show up and I want to be the best at it there is. So the end of this story about the ceramic
Funny.
bunny and the $20 gift card is they said, okay, we'll see you next week at this time. And I want you to bring a notebook and pen. And the guy walks out and he turns around and the leader, the successful guy, walked up to the busboy, gave him $100 bill, the ceramic rabbit, and the gift card. And the guy said, when he came outside, why'd you do all that? Well, his house burned down last week. They lost all their worldly possessions. His mother believes that a rabbit is a sign of prosperity and luck. So I got her a rabbit and I gave them the money so that they could afford to eat and do some other things because he's living as a busboy. And what you did by going out of your comfort zone and doing something without any knowledge is you made somebody feel really good today. Nothing wrong with that. You have anything to add to my little stories there?
No, you're doing good.
Okay. Okay. I feel like I'm giving a book report.
You are.
Okay. So chapter 2 is show up.
What does that mean to you?
Good question.
You're welcome. Microphones, please. Tammy,
Does show up mean to me?
what does showing up mean to you?
It means I'm going to be there on time and ready to go.
Okay. Tulio?
I believe the same. It's a time. Or to do everything we need to do.
Okay.
I think it also involves looking past just the time aspect, but what do your clients or whoever you're meeting with anticipating their needs? Like, do they need help with something? Or is our timeline correct on listing things? Is, what can I do to lessen your load? Showing up in ways that I can
So mentally,
mentally, and just, I've helped clients move before. I've helped them pack, I've vacuumed bedrooms, I just, sometimes it's anticipating their needs and finding ways that I can help serve them
Mhm.
as part of showing up, even though it's not in my necessarily rules for being an agent, but just finding ways to assist them that help lighten their load a little.
I think Tim's about ready.
gonna say,
to
Tim, you wanna
contribute if he
play?
moved up here.
come on, grab a mic.
I don't want to be rude.
Okay.
Well, no, I did want to speak to that. You're right. Show up. Show up, be ready to work, be sober, be awake, have your tools, whatever that may be. So there's a lot to showing up. It's not just physical presence, it's preparation.
There's a lot to showing up. And I wanted, right before he said that, getting back to that a minute. If I give my knowledge to you, if you have the knowledge, along with great knowledge comes great power, or great power, responsibility. Yeah. So giving you that knowledge, I don't think there's anything in this book that we're going to go, oh, wow, this is something I've never heard of before. Might put it together a little differently with their experiences. But the fact is, we all know what to do. We all know what needs to be done. What we don't always do is show up to be ready for it. So if I decide that I'm going to run the Boston Marathon and I just walk on there and I've not registered and I've never run a marathon in my life and I've done no training, am I going to win the Boston Marathon? I probably won't get past the first block the way I run. There are things you do to show up, to be present in the moment, to do the things you're supposed to. How many people know folks that come to work, turn on the computer, and shop for shoes and listen to YouTube videos and do all kinds of things, but they aren't doing any work?
Oh, she left back in April. Sorry, that was naughty.
Showing up does not just mean being there. I like the way Tim put it. You have to have the tools. You have to be prepared. I like what Tulio said. You have to show up to the house 10 minutes early. You have to get it ready to show it. You have to be prepared for your client. I like what Erica said. I will show up and take the next step as I need to. Doesn't mean that you're always going to, back to yours. If somebody said, Erica, I need you to paint this room. No, I might not do that, but I can find a I've put up siding too, but I also know how to find a painter to do that room for them and do it affordably and do it well. So being present is beyond just you doing it. It is having all those tools and resources. Okay. Let's see. You can never be successful at anything if you don't show up. I like that whole rest thing. If you own a business, you absolutely have to show up. Your business is your responsibility. How many people in our business have we seen that maybe drop in, get a sale, and maybe they don't? They don't treat it like a business. They don't do the marketing. They don't reach out to their past clients. They don't do the things that make your business work. We're just, Joel, well, I tell this lesson about Joel all the time. When he had first sold his big house, back then it was probably 10 years ago, $250,000 house. Back then that was like, woo, double the normal, And Joel said, I'm here. I'm arrived. Business is going to roll in now. I said, Joel, business doesn't roll in now. You have to keep doing all the things you did to get here to keep business rolling in. If you're not willing to keep doing those things, then you're going to get this sale and then you're going to go down and then you have to start over and you're on the roller coaster. You have to keep doing the things that build up, that accumulated to that sale. Any input?
No, well, I mean, showing up, you got to be mentally in the moment, not distracted by, what's going to happen tomorrow or what happened yesterday. You've got to mentally be in the moment. Not, and physically, obviously.
And I think the next thing that he's got that I kind of highlighted, and I highlighted stuff that was meaningful to me. When we are out of our comfort zone, we don't want to show up. So his story here is on the days when you have to tell your staff that budget cuts are going to happen, that's not easy and nobody wants to do it. I don't want to show up then, but I have to. It's my responsibility. When you have to call a client and tell them that their financing fell through, that the other party is backing out of the contract, those are not fun things to do. Nobody here wants to do that. Lots of people don't want to call their past clients. But the more we show up and do what we're supposed to, the more we're present, the easier it gets all the time. So back to the busboy, and that kind of gets closer to the end here. The busboy, remember he had a fire? He showed up to work the day after the fire. He had a responsibility. He probably could have taken the day off.
Well, they expected him to.
They expected him to. But he felt like he had to give his all. The day after my grandmother died, who raised me when I was a little baby, I showed up to work the next day because there were only two of us running that place. It was tough, but it's what I had to do. We have to do things and put on the smile and do what we're supposed to because that's our responsibility. The more I showed up and was present in every way, the less I had to worry about the bad days. I think that's true. If I know every morning I'm going to call people like Tulio and I'm going to talk to folks that make me happy, it's no longer a dread like it probably was when you first started. And if I had a bad day yesterday because the contract fell in, and then I start talking to people the next morning that are happy, I get happier. I don't have to worry about the yesterdays so much.
Another part of that, Greg, is it's not so much bad things that happen, although they do to all of us on a regular basis. But as a realtor, nothing happens day after day after day, like Sunday open houses. You spend a lot of Sundays sitting in a house by yourself. Maybe somebody shows up, maybe they don't. But it's the nothing. It's the nothingness. You say, well, why do I keep putting myself out there for nothing?
My wife used to, when I first got started in this business, first 9 months for the roughest. You guys all know this. 9 months, I sold 3 houses. And the next 3 months, I sold 9 houses. I don't know how that worked, but, okay, it worked. And every day I would go home and tell my wife, well, today I did A, B, C, D, E. And the next day, today I did A, B, C, D. And she went to one of my cohorts and said, why is he always coming home telling me what he did nothing all day? When they said, because they want you to be proud of that, what may feel like nothing and what seems like nothing isn't necessarily nothing. So back to Tim's, I did an open house. Nobody came in. I sent out 100 cards. Nobody called me. I did a CMA and I didn't get the listing. That feels like nothing, but is it really? You satisfied your seller with an open house. You learned from that open house. You sent out cards that maybe people didn't call you the first month, but did they call you 4 months later? So we have to quit thinking about, in my opinion, the contract as being the goal but rather the activity to attract people to you is the goal, because those activities will result in a contract ultimately. You may attract 5 people and get 1 contract, but that's the numbers. Attract the people and the contracts will follow. Any comments on that? Thoughts? Tim liked it.
We concur.
And he says in here, no matter what you're doing, show up. Don't half-heartedly try to play tennis. Don't half-heartedly try to play soccer for us. Don't half-heartedly come to work. I come to work to be the best. I don't come to work to be mediocre. And as you start showing up to work that way, you're changing your habits and you're changing your thoughts. I'm not the bad guy that I feel like some days. I'm a good guy because I'm in here putting in the hours and doing what needs to be done. Success isn't all about knowledge or education. It's about the thoughts you choose to prioritize and implement in your life. Some of the smartest people I've met barely graduated high school. Some of the dumbest folks I know have a master's degree. Don't they?
Yeah.
Doing the best you can.
I'm not saying that education is bad. What I am saying is if you don't put it to use, if you don't get your thoughts in line, it doesn't matter. I'm a hardworking soul. I'll be honest. I was a high school dropout. I went back and got my high school degree, and in the Army, I have something like 140, 160 hours of college now. But it's because I took classes that interest me and I didn't care 1 iota if I ever got a degree. But I was a high school dropout. That doesn't make me stupid. But you got to come in and do the job every day. Tim?
Right.
When you pick up the microphone,
Stop teasing him.
if you want to pursue success, it starts first in your mind. Isn't that kind of like sex? The sexiest thing of anybody is, what's up here. It's not what's out there. Sorry, there was a little blue, but I'm kind of innocent in that.
Well, you threw us a curve, that's for sure.
Well, I like to do that every now and then. But if you don't religiously show up for your pursuit, you'll always be chasing something that's out of reach. I want to tell you right now, Tim is knocking the world on its butt. He's already written his 2026 contract today.
Yeah. Tim is on fire.
Actually, Tim is coming in.
1 a year, Greg. That's all
Yeah.
I need.
Well,
And,
you're
and
way
then
ahead.
suddenly
I
he's
don't want to show off.
and then suddenly he's written 3 in the last month and a half or so. So it's you got to show up. Now Tim's semi-retired. I'm not pushing his buttons in any way whatsoever. I get it. But if you don't show up and do the things you want, you won't make it.
That's what I tell my new listing people, particularly if I'm doing a CMA and I'm going against someone else. I say one thing I do is I answer the phone. I put my name on the sign in the front yard and my phone number's there. You can call me at 6 o'clock tonight or 10 o'clock Saturday morning or 2 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. And anybody else that you want to have CMA for, ask them what hours they keep. When do they answer the phone?
And you do that because it's your responsibility to your client.
And I tell them to call me and just ask me what time it is. That's fine. I'll tell them what time it is. I know why they're calling.
And I'm not, trying to, there's a very successful agent in this town. And I saw one of their videos and it said specifically, I don't answer other real estate agents till after 5 o'clock.
Wow.
Because it'll be all, dramatic and busy, and I don't want to deal with their drama. So I just make them wait till 5 o'clock before I talk to them.
Rude.
I can't. Business like that.
Yeah, no.
Well, I'm gonna say that works for them, and I'm not trying to put them down in any way, but I will say I'm not sure that my responsibility to my client is best served if I tell another agent that. If I let another agent control how I'm talking to my client, that's a problem. If that agent feels like they have a problem, it's not my job to escalate it, but it's to get the information so I can tell my client. That's my job. So I think we worry too much sometimes about agent-agent relationships when we ought to be worried about agent-client. That's our responsibility. Okay, that was my editorial comment.
Okay.
Okay. So that's chapter 1 and 2. Chapter 3 and 4 will be a little bit better. And they keep progressing. And there's some thoughts that you can put in your head and how you want to do things. But that's all this book is about how we feel, how we do things, where we're going with it. Are we doing the things every day that will help us out? It's not about make sure you send out 60 cards this week. I don't need to tell you to send out 60 cards. I need to tell you to show up and do the things you're supposed to.
Focus.
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 And so when I said all that, she said, yeah, that's what Buddha said.
Buddha, yes, Buddha teaches that you have to live in the moment, live in the now, mentally, physically, and spiritually, all in this one moment to manifest everything that you want.
And there was one thing he wrote in here. It says, most of everything I'm saying here, nothing new. It's been written in books for centuries.
Mhm.
It's been written by multiple authors. I think he puts it together pretty well. But the question is, do you show up every day? Are you on time? Or are you running on realtor time and, whatever else you might be doing?
Well, and he gave the example in the book of showing up means when he's going to dinner with his wife, he's not on his phone, he's not checking his email, he's not checking this. He's in the moment, focused on his wife having dinner. That's showing up physically and mentally.
When he's on vacation in Colombia, he's in that moment. And that moment is to be around family and the
And playing
vacation
and-
and those kind of things. So be in that moment. We do have to, but that's also paying attention to our business. And we have to pay attention to our business because we're independent. But, hi, Elena. But even if we're in the moment of that vacation, I'm sorry, family, I have to go attend to a little business. I'll be right back in 15 minutes. That's very acceptable. Okay, I'm going to quit recording.
Goodbye.
I want to thank you all.